In this episode,
Next thing you know, Skynet becomes self-aware. We're only 2 years away from that happening.
There we go. That is yeah.
2029.
2029. It is crazy. It part of super funny. Revelation, the mark of the beast. If you translate it from Aramaic, it actually comes out to AI.
Really?
No. But it's so that was the joke. That was the joke our pastor made, and it just went dead silent. Everyone's like, "Oh!" And he's like, "I just made that up."
in an obtuse world, Mark and Jefe will combine military, law enforcement, and general FUD knowledge to keep you vertical. Welcome to the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by yet another edition of the Live, Laugh, LARP podcast. It's another episode. Unfortunately, it's another episode without Jefe. He unfortunately is at home with some sick family members, so hopefully they get better sooner than later so we can get him back on the podcast for some color commentary. But it's not just me. We've got a returning guest live in the studio this time on the casting couch. And and needless to say, we're grateful to have our guest here. But before we get into that, we need to say a huge thank you and pay some bills to XS Sites. They are the best site manufacturer that's out there. They have done some really awesome collaborations with like Smith & Wesson on some of their revolvers, but if you need sights for your Glocks, your Walthers, your ARs, your AKs, your MP5s, they have possibly the solution that you need for your firearm. Regardless if it's their XS big dot sights or just conventional sights, they have an option for you. I'd highly suggest you guys swinging by, checking them out, and to say thank you for listening to the podcast. They have given us a 20% discount code. That is LARP, L-A-R-P. Use that on your checkout and 20% off anything from XS Sites. So again, we appreciate them. Cheers to them, and cheers to you, our guest, Matt. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Freaking, it's been a while since you've been here. You're passing through. You're on a long trek from kind of the southwest area back home.
Yeah.
Stopping in just to see what's going on. What has been new with you?
Nothing crazy, honestly. Just had another kid, which is great.
That is kind of a big deal.
That is kind of a big deal.
I don't know if you know this. If anybody who doesn't have kids, if you don't know, having kids is a big deal.
It is a big deal. One is a lot. Two is even more than a lot. So
agreed.
That's always fun.
So I've got two kids, but they are 11 years apart.
Okay.
So It was almost like we had a built-in babysitter.
That's what people have been telling me. You know, like if you spread them out a little bit, it's not as much work. We did the opposite, and I think they're 18, 19 months apart. Mm-hmm. So relatively close. 2 under 2 for at least 6 months, 5 months. Yeah. But it's awesome. Yeah, it's the best.
It is. It really is. I will tell you that, so my brother and I were 2 years, 363 days apart. Our birthdays are literally 2 days apart. So there was a bit of a gap between us, but for the most part, we were still pretty close. I mean, we fought. I mean, you get two boys together, they're going to fight. Yeah. But for the most part, we were pretty close. We're still pretty close now, but not like as close as Nan and her sister are. That kind of weirds me out, you know. Like I can go probably two maybe 3 weeks without talking to my brother, and it's just fine.
Everything's good.
You know? Yep. If those two went that long, there was something seriously wrong. They were like upset with each other or something, you know. So I don't know.
Guys do that differently too.
Right.
It's like I couldn't talk to some of my best friends for a year. Mm-hmm. And just be like, hey, like, oh, what's up, man? Good talking to you. How you doing? For
sure. Yeah. I've got a group of guys that we talk. We'll go for about 2 weeks, and we'll talk to each other through a group text, and then it's like 6 months and nothing. Yeah, you know. So, but anyway, we're not really here to talk about that. you've been working with a company kind of in the industry.
Yeah. Yep.
You're doing a lot of photography work and stuff like that. Talk about that. What's going on with that? What's new with there?
So F5 Productions, phenomenal group of guys. Was doing contracting with them for a while, and not recently, maybe in the last year, stepped back from behind the camera and more in front of the camera with them, doing quote unquote modeling is what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But they're hiring so many people. So Josh Freilich, amazing dude. We've got Luke, who's a photographer, Austin, another videographer. They're hiring some social media people. If anybody's out there who's really good person, wants to work with an amazing crew, whether you're an editor or, photographer, videographer, or even just social media manager, they're looking for good people. If you're in the Minnesota area, even better. But they're constantly hiring. I think they're going to be up to a dozen full-time employees by the end of the year, and that went from 0 to a dozen in, I don't know, a year, something like that, 2 years. Also, real quick, is that too low?
No,
that's good.
We'll be
okay.
good. Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're crushing it. So, a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
lot of fun going on up there.
And Josh Freilich, if I'm not mistaken, he heads a competition.
Yeah, so he's a competitive shooter, one of the best in the world, trains a lot of operators and stuff like that. And, he tells everyone all the time, he's like, I'm not going to train you how to do your job. I am not a door kicker, but I will train you how to shoot faster and more accurate.
Right.
And so like he does all sorts of cool stuff. Yeah, he's a phenomenal shooter, freak of nature when it comes to stage planning and footwork and stuff like that. Like he goes, it's insane to watch. I have the attention span of a goldfish. So like you go in, stage plan, beeper goes off, timer goes off, and you're just like, I have no idea where I am right now.
Yeah, exactly. You just totally forget.
Done. Yeah, I forgot the course fire is like the most used phrase when I do shoot, which I hardly ever shoot anymore. But yeah, phenomenal shooter, just really, really good, Christian, solid guy. And if anybody's looking for work, hit F5 Productions up because they're looking for good people.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
I actually applied for them for
Did
the social media manager position
really?
That they had. This would have been.
We talked about this.
We did.
Yeah,
we did. It's been a long time.
It has.
But I will freely admit that I probably didn't have. It's like that meme where you see the miniature dachshund. And they say you lied on your resume, and now you're like a guard dog.
Yeah,
it's like it kind of. I didn't lie on my resume or anything, but I sent my resume and talked about my my time with my YouTube channel and managing my own content on Instagram and X and all of that type of stuff. And I think that they were probably looking for something a little bit more experience, which is perfectly fine. Yeah. I totally get that, 100%. But needless to say, I thought it was going to be kind of an interesting deal.
Yep.
And then just in at SHOT Show, I went and talked to the people with Siley Optics. All right, Siley is a up and coming optics manufacturer that is very much like HoloSun, but not HoloSun, if that makes sense. So think of back, 8 years ago, when the HoloSun 507 came out. Right? Okay. That was their quote unquote clone of the RMR, and people are like, that doesn't look anything like an RMR, right?
Yeah.
You're like, Chinesium. Well, to be frankly honest with you, Siley's kind of going about the same approach.
Okay.
Now, I have several of their optics. I've shot Kalashnikov using one of their pistol red dots on my AK. Shot out to 575 yards.
Nice.
First round impact. I mean, it was like I was stunned that I was able to do that. But needless to say, at SHOT Show, I went down and talked to them. They had a new optic that they were wanting to kind of hype up a little bit, so they gave me a sample and said, "Hey, use this, put it on something, kind of torture it up a little bit, see how it holds up, so on and so forth. Cool. Well, as I'm talking to their marketing manager, I made a comment about social media, and she's like, if I could not be on social media, I wouldn't. And I said, well, if you need a social media manager,
yeah,
it's kind of in my wheelhouse here. And she's like, are you serious? And I was like,
are you serious?
I was like, what did I just do?
Yeah.
I was like,
that's awesome.
I was like, yeah. Well, unfortunately for me, they actually ended up hiring a company that not only did their social media managing, but also does their affiliate work and everything. So
was it us?
I don't know.
I don't think I've heard of them, but
never said who it was.
Okay.
I would imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. You know what? I need to reach back out to them because they wanted me to be a part of their affiliates program.
Nice.
And I was like, absolutely, of course I will, because I really do like their red dots. Now their red dots are a little unconventional with the way they look, but matter of fact,
do you have one over here? Oh, there it is.
So that's like their their naming conventions is animal based.
Okay.
So it's like a cat, a wolf, a bull. But that one there is their enclosed emitter, and
oh, nice, it's fully enclosed.
Yeah, that one's going to be like their EPS clone.
Okay.
Right. So their version of an EPS, and I think that is the RMSC footprint.
That's nice looking.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the lines on it I don't particularly care for, like on the top of it, I don't really care for that, but...
Is that for, that co-witness? I'm assuming, is that what that is?
No.
It isn't?
No.
Okay. That's just decoration?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and depending on which type of firearm you're putting on, it may co-witness with just standard iron sights.
Yeah.
But
it's got the co-witness on the bottom. Yeah, honestly, that's super crisp. Like glass is really clear.
It's not too bad. Yeah, I've seen worse for sure.
Yeah,
so
it's just slight discoloration, but yeah, no, that's nice looking. Interesting.
So that one there is got to be put onto a pistol to get beat up. They want me to torture it, freeze it
on the 1911.
Yeah.
In the World War II 1911.
Yeah. So, but anyway, if you guys are looking for work, there you go. F5 Productions.
Awesome.
Now, what does F5 Productions do?
Oh man. So it started off just doing match content.
Mm-hmm.
So we would go to matches, all the big matches, Texas 3-gun, all the USPSA stuff, all the national USPSA stuff, matches. And so we do content there, and then basically they would, companies would buy the content from us and just run it on the socials. And then we were traveling to a lot of matches. And Josh would actually drive. He's got like a 40-foot camper, and that would be our office. He built it out to be a editing studio, which is pretty awesome. And so he would be driving all over creation, and eventually moved into social media management. It moved into basically we have all the talent, the range, photography, videography, and then as well, so we do everything, which is crazy. And now that they've hired so many people, I have a full-time job, and so I wasn't going to go do that, unfortunately. So whenever I can get involved, I try to get involved. So hey, do you need a model to shoot some cool guns or something?
Yeah.
So you'll see me all over the place and it's too much. I've done too much for them over the past 6 months. So I'm on a hiatus for socials. But, Kimber and Federal and all that stuff. We were going to do some YouTube stuff, and then the tariffs came in and cut everyone's budget for YouTube, unfortunately. But Josh runs the Federal, I believe it's Federal YouTube, Walker's YouTube channel, a few other different things. But, yeah, awesome, really, really good dude, good people. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. No, you're good.
So, you're in the Great White North.
Great something north.
Yeah. We kind of talked about this over dinner.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be good to kind of rehash it just a little bit because
Here we go, getting political.
I know I'm fine with that.
I know that we're good.
There's just a certain group of people we're not supposed to talk about. But one of the questions that I had, because I'm pretty sure that we see the news and we see what I guess certain people want us to see.
Yeah.
What is it really like in the Twin Cities? Is it as bad as the media makes it out to be, or is it not so bad, or is it somewhere in between?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's so funny. I made a post on this on Facebook, and I think the following weekend we were at church, and our pastor was just like, I'm trying not to be on social. He's like, nobody cares what I have to say, nor should you. And in general, I'm trying to take that approach, like just because social media is all consuming. It really is. Like it's really bad. So I've been trying to stay off it. And of course, I literally the day I was going on a 30-day cleanse, that chick got shot for trying to hit the guy with her car. Didn't actually try to hit him, but she almost hit him. And I was like, well, here we go again. Yeah. It's back. Minnesota's back in the crosshairs, back in the media and news and everything else. And it's always for the bad reasons. There's nothing ever good that happens in Minnesota where everyone's like, oh, nice. Like, I'm proud to be from Minnesota, proud to be from the Twin Cities. And depending on the side you're on, a lot of people are saying now, I'm proud to be from the Twin Cities because we fought back and we stood up to the government or whatever you want to call it.
Government overreach.
Yeah. So it kind of, you said it best, it's a little bit in between. My wife actually just sent me a video today. She's back in Minnesota. I'm driving through, but and it's all the ice out signs in our neighborhood, and it's crazy the amount of people who have signs. That being said, I have never, and I live about 4, maybe 5 miles away from where all this stuff is going down. I've never seen an ICE car, never seen an ICE agent, never seen a march or a protest or anything like that. You see people on the side of the road holding signs or something like that, and they do it all the time. Like, there's just First Amendment right, do whatever you want. I don't care. That being said, I have a buddy. I'm not going to say his name, but I have a buddy who is in the firearm industry and was stopped twice. He is of Mexican descent, and he looks like a Muslim terrorist, if I'm being 100% honest. And that was the first joke that we made. It was like, did you get pulled over for terrorism or something like that? But I mean, legitimately, U.S. citizen, born in the U.S. I think his parents were from Mexico or something like that. But, he got pulled over and asked for his papers and stuff. And so we were kind of talking about this over at dinner. And it's like, am I okay with that? No. Like, you shouldn't. Asking for papers in general is just not a thing I'm okay with. That being said, we're at a point now in the Twin Cities and the U.S. in general, we let so many people in. Yeah. So many people in unvetted. And I'm sure there are phenomenal people that are getting caught up in this and are paying the price. And, it is what it is. Do it right. Wouldn't have to have these problems. But there's a lot of good people that are being affected by it. At the same time, there's a lot of shitbags that are getting caught up in this.
And that's the thing that bugs me is I have friends who are, fuck ICE and all of that type of stuff. Hey, if that's the position that you want to stay in, you want to be on, that's fine. But just realize that you're kind of defending some of these really bad people, right? And I'm sure that there's people that are good people that may or may not be here legally that are getting caught up in all of this as well. Yeah. But at the same time, there's also a lot of bad people.
There is.
And you're going to sit there and you're going to defend them as well. I'm like, come on now. We can agree that over enforcement is a problem, in certain areas, but at the same time, we can also agree that it's needed.
Right.
Just like, as we talked about over dinner, just like the people in Minneapolis who are creating a magical border around a neighborhood and then are checking people who are coming into this area, asking if they belong there, and then if they don't belong there, that they need to get out.
Yeah.
It's
and
kind of hypocritical.
And that is happening, and it's hysterical.
It is,
like
isn't it?
It's super funny. We were talking about this earlier, but like I drive a Tundra, and it's got tinted windows, and you know I wear a hat and I've got a beard, and I am shocked that I have not been stopped yet.
Yeah.
By these idiots that are trying to do this. And I think the worst part about this is obviously 2 people lost their lives. That sucks. You know, it is what it is. That being said, if you look at what was happening down south, you had Democratic mayors, governors, whatever, that invited ICE in. Memphis is a good example. I think it was their governor or their mayor. Invited ICE in, said, our police department will cooperate with you. You have all access to the jails. Anyone who's illegal in there, that's a criminal, we'll give them to you. You take them out, whatever. No protest. If there were a protest, wasn't, widely shown anywhere. And if they were protests, they weren't very big. Their crime just plummeted. Like Matt, and I'm going to butcher the numbers. I'll make something up, 70%.
Right.
I have no idea if that's true right or not, but it's a decent amount. You look at Minneapolis, and everyone's like, oh, Minneapolis, they're taking all these people out of Minneapolis. No, you look at Texas, you look at Arizona, or some of the southern states that border Mexico. Their arrests are way higher, like way higher, in the tens of percents higher. And the only reason Minnesota is so politicized, is because of our governor. And we dodged a massive bullet not having him be vice president.
Hold on a second. I mean, he's just a good old boy, you know?
Military guy.
Yeah.
He brought he used those weapons in war.
Right, in
That's
war,
what it is,
yeah. And in Italy, I guess. I guess there was a war in Italy at some
Italians.
point.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is, he's from Nebraska, and then he ends up as the governor of Minnesota. And there's a history. He has a history in Nebraska, which is why he's not in Nebraska right now. Which I find funny. Anyway, we're not here to talk about him.
But that is the reason why it's so bad right now. Truthfully, is the second they came in, police department, Minneapolis Police Department said, we will not support any of your operations. The ICE and in general, Border Patrol, immigrations, whatever, they are not a policing force. They are an enforcement force of the federal government.
Right.
As an enforcement force, and I hate saying that multiple times, they are not there to police the situation. They're there to go after people. You can't put them in a policing situation. Like, it's not going to work. You got a bunch of dudes that are good at their jobs, frankly, and a lot of veterans, whether it was military veterans or police veterans, whatever it was, and they are not given the help that's needed from the Minneapolis Police Department. And so the police chiefs stated straight up, we are not going to support them. So they go into these places. Typically, look at Memphis. MPD in Memphis would do crowd control. They'd work with the ICE agents to see who's living in the house and stuff like that. So you don't have these misses where you go into a house, you pull some guy out, it's some 85-year-old dude in his boxers, thinking that it's a sex predator or something like that. You don't have that because their MPD in Memphis told them, no, that guy moved. Here's where he moved to. The address has changed. So you don't see a lot of that stuff. MPDs, they're not helping at all. Minneapolis Police Department is not helping at all. So just recently when Trump said, we're pulling out, or whatever the guy's name is said, we're pulling out, police finally are giving them access to the jails and finally doing all this stuff. So we don't have as much enforcement down there, but it's you see all these protests and you see guys getting gassed or flashbangs and crap like that. It is in one tiny area, like a mile by a mile, or it's just at the Whipple Detention Center. If anybody, we have an Airbnb, and people canceled their trip from Florida because they're like, oh, we don't want to be close to all this stuff. And I was like, you're 3 hours away from a 1 square mile area. It's not bad. It truly isn't. I'm sure people are scared because the media is telling you to be scared.
Yeah. Well, plus too, you run into situations. We talked about this previously as well. You have individuals who are coming into the city, Twin Cities.
Yeah.
They're renting vehicles that may or may not have been used by law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
So then those people are then getting harassed. And so, like, if I was to go into Minnesota right now, I'm pretty sure that I would be profiled. Much like yourself, we probably would both be profiled as probably ICE agents.
Yep.
Just because of the way we look. And then couple that with renting a car that may have been rented by an ICE agent. It's like, it's a bad situation.
They have, and I've talked to a few people about this, and what's crazy is, like, all my wife's friends, most of my friends, some friends, are all, like, fuck ICE. And so they go to these protests and they're in these signal chats and stuff like that. And the coordination, this is the only reason why I think, if you look at right and left, why the right would have a really hard time in a civil war is because we're not organized. And when I say we, I'm talking about more of the right-leaning type of people, but we're not organized, period. I was sitting at home after that chick was shot, and like the next day I got a text on my phone. My wife got the same text. It's a link, and in that link was all the planned protests for the next 2 weeks. And it was, here's the time, here's the date, here's the place, here's what you should bring, here's suggestions on clothing to wear, here is home remedies for tear gas, to get tear gas out of your eyes, or pepper spray. I mean, it was so coordinated, all within a day. It's nuts. And nobody would ever, what drives me crazy is the fact that you've got the Epstein files out, horrendous things in the Epstein files.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely horrible. If you have kids, I highly suggest you don't. I mean, I think you should look at them, but I highly suggest prepare yourself for some just horrible things. Nobody is protesting that. Nobody.
Yeah.
And protests are still going on for ICE in Minneapolis after the drawdown and after everything else. And it's like, the reason there's no protests is because the people who are paying for those protesters, paying for the text messages that go out and stuff like that, are probably the people on the freaking list. So they don't want anybody protesting this. So it's a whole, I don't know. And I hate calling it even a conspiracy theory, because everything that we've conspirized, if that's even a word, about has somewhat come true in the last couple of years. So
at this point now, it's called spoiler alerts.
Yeah, that's
So
yeah,
and that's the piece that I have thought about since we first talked about it about 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Is you're saying that how organized they were, and I'm not to. It's kind of low hanging fruit, but realistically, yeah, they're organized because they're being funded to.
right.
And we have seen time and time again how, this group of people are being funded by this nonprofit organization. Well, that nonprofit organization, eventually, the more you follow the money, ends up George Soros.
Right.
Yeah.
And
of course, again, that's low hanging fruit, and that's not necessarily the case 100% of the time, but more times than not, we're seeing that is the case, So I think that the right probably could get there, but the people who end up having the money or controlling a portion of the money, like the George Soroses, typically end up being kind of left-leaning to begin with, and as mentioned, we're seeing that to be a lot more blatantly true because of the Epstein files.
Yeah.
And everybody who has been connected. Now, not to say that every person in the Epstein files was connected to Epstein, but at the same time, these are the same people that were these different parties
Right.
that had same connections and so on and so forth. And what blew me away is, I'm not a huge Tucker Carlson fan. I take what he says with a grain of salt,
Yeah.
but I do pay attention to his interviews because he's extremely good at debating.
Digging. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%.
And when he sat down with Huckabee,
That was...
and Huckabee's like, I haven't read the files, and they're like,
What are you talking about?
what do you mean you haven't read the files?
Right.
I mean, I don't expect you to read every
3
email.
million pages.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, you are the ambassador to Israel.
Right.
I think
Who's mentioned
a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by all means, it's the Russians.
No.
Epstein was a Russian plant. You know
Yes.
that, right?
Yeah.
So
No, it's crazy. And my wife and I are talking about this, and it's like, even if 90% of the Epstein files are false or made up or whatever
or just
it is,
exaggerated.
or just exaggerated,
Mhm.
you still have 3 million pages,
Mm-hmm.
videos, documents, pictures, all this different stuff. And I don't know if you watched. And again, I want to reiterate: both sides suck.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said this on the first time I did the podcast with you, but like, fuck the federal government
Mhm.
in entirety. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's whoever it is. We can get on this in a little bit too, but Trump has failed miserably this time around in doing anything that he said he was going to do whatsoever. And I hope everyone hearing this, that does not make you a liberal, to acknowledge the fact that you voted for somebody to do things and they did none of the things that you asked them
Exactly.
to do. Like
right.
it truly doesn't. It pisses me off. But
That's the thing that pisses me off too, is like, okay, you've got people who are hardcore MAGA, supporters.
Yeah.
Fine. But the moment that you criticize,
yeah.
all of a sudden, oh, you're just one of them. And I'm like, no, I'm it's like I went out and bought a brand new car, and I expected that car to be the best car ever.
Right.
And it turned out to be a piece of crap.
Yep.
So I have the ability to criticize
To
that.
say, hey,
And that's
what the heck?
exactly what happened. I cast my vote for this person because that person said they were going to do X, Y, and Z, and so far none of it has happened.
None of it's happened.
No.
And I was expecting, truthfully, I was expecting the complete opposite. Can't run again. You truthfully have nothing to lose except getting assassinated, which they've tried a couple of times.
Yeah. It's like 3 attempts in the last month or two.
Dude, it's crazy. They just shot that one 22-year-old dweeb or whatever the dude's name. I mean, went to Mar-a-Lago with a shotgun and a gas canister or something like that. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Anyway, but yeah, it's, not to just beat a dead horse, but the reason I think he got elected, I mean, granted, he had Kamala Harris and Tampon Timmy that obviously were not fit for duty, but one of the main things he ran on was the Epstein files. That's a big one. Well, we're going to drain the swamp, and then you get to it, and it's like, oh, well, that's a hoax. That's not a real thing.
Are you guys even still talking about that?
Yeah. What are you talking? Like that's where I started losing a lot of respect, because it's like, dude, you can't, even if he wasn't president, he's a parent. You can't look at some of that stuff and be a parent and not just be like, I'm going to burn some shit down.
I don't know, though, because some of the things that he has said about his own daughter.
Valid.
On public, on freaking mainstream TV.
Yeah.
Like one of the daytime, not like The View, but something like that,
Yeah.
He made a comment about how something to the effect of like, I would date my daughter
If she was my daughter. Or
yeah.
something. Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean,
just say, hey, she's beautiful. I respect her.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Look,
yeah.
I've got a daughter,
Goodness.
right? And I think that my daughter has some attractive qualities that has been pulled from her mom and me.
Yeah.
but
Never going to
it's
say I'm going
because
to date my daughter.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like my daughter is beautiful, and here's the reasons why. Number
Right.
one, she looks pleasing, but at the same time, it is because of her personality and the way she carries herself and
Yeah.
her confidence and those types of things. But I'm not sitting there going like, oh yeah, I totally date my daughter. Come on. So then it boils down to is like, okay, so you're not really doing. They had to Congress. This is what's so weird.
Yeah.
He ran on the fact that he was going to release the Epstein files and then allowed his DOJ to bumble around with it
For
right
a long time.
for a long time,
and then fake release them.
and fake
In
release
the
them.
binders.
Yes,
Photo op for the binders.
Yep.
Yeah.
and then Congress had to get involved and
Gosh.
pass a bill that he ends up signing
Yeah. Instead of just releasing.
instead of just releasing.
Yep.
And then, but I guess if the 3D chess makes me wonder if he did that on purpose so they would have to pass a law which then would require the government, not only the executive branch but the legislative branch, to force them to release it correctly.
Yeah.
But-
But that's the thing.
But they're not even doing that.
But they're not doing that. And I get the fact. So there's anyone who has ever mentioned in any email is on that. Whether you were at a movie premiere where Epstein was there too, like you've got media personnel who were just photographers that were mentioned in an email. Reuters or whoever other media people are. So and so is there taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
They're listed in a guest list.
Mm-hmm.
They're in the files. And
Mhm.
I was looking at this the other day, and some guy, weirdly enough, when I went down to Houston to do animal rescue after Hurricane Harvey, and a guy snapped a picture of me, and ended up we started talking, and he posted the picture on something made like national news, which was nuts. But he was mentioned in the files because he was a photographer at an event, and anyway, long story short, somebody posted on Reddit like, is it weird that all these people are on the files? And this guy's like, I am in the files. I am on this page. I am on in this email. I was literally a photographer. So it's like, I get it. You got all these people that probably are not associated with the crazy satanic or
Yeah,
cannibal.
children eating.
Yeah, all these freaking mudmen
Well, it's like
idiots.
Whoopi Goldberg is in there, you know.
Yeah, but that doesn't surprise me.
Well, no, that's true. That's true. Like the couple of ladies from The View was in it, and I
Yeah.
was like, and they were trying to explain it away. It was like, I don't know. I was at
I was at a party once.
party. So I don't know, you know. And I'm like,
Gosh.
well, that's the Hollywood portion of it,
Yeah.
you know. That
Part of me is just like, release everything unredacted, figure it out.
and what
Let
was
people plead their guilt or non-guilt, whatever it is. But at the same time, it's not the correct way to do it.
right. And Bondi was like, if we unredacted everything, the system would collapse.
Let it burn.
Yeah. That's where I'm at now.
Seriously,
too.
I don't care.
And it's so funny because people will ask me what radicalized you.
Yeah,
I was like,
there's a lot.
have you not been paying attention?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, one, our own freaking system is doing it. You know,
it is by itself.
and not to get on a weird tangent here, but so my son is 26, and when he has done, for the most part, not everything, but for the most part, everything that we've told him to do as far as how to grow up,
Yeah,
and he's still just scraping by.
yeah. It's
That's
bad.
not how things are supposed to go.
No,
You know?
and it's. I've got tons of friends. Don't have tons of friends. I have friends who, yeah. My wife and I bought a house in 2019. I had my first house in 2014, something like that.
Mhm.
Paid like $110,000 for my first house.
Yeah.
And it was a 2,300 square. I mean, it wasn't nice by any means, but 2,300 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath
Mm-hmm.
Rambler. You look at our second house, paid a lot more money for it, and we have tons of friends who are still renting, and
Yeah.
it's like they physically cannot buy a house. Same age as us, 36.
Yeah.
And they can't buy a house, and it's just like, I don't understand it can't get much worse. I mean, it can, obviously, but our parents, my parents, had it great in terms of what a dollar was worth. Okay, my dad worked for the same company for 36 years. Phenomenal at his job, and he's a phenomenal human being in general. But, they lived off of one paycheck. And I had a phenomenal childhood. Grew up in Kansas, grew up here, Overland Park, and had a beautiful house, played soccer, played baseball, played basketball. It's typical 90s kids' childhood. My wife and I both work, both make great money, and we both have this conversation constantly where it's like, I feel like we're just scraping by, and we put a ton of money into savings, but at the same time, it's like we're not going to Cancun every year or something like that. It's like, what is going on?
So, and that's one of the things that I've started to look into as well. We talked about I am. We just got to solidify the dates.
Yeah.
And start purchasing the tickets. But I'm taking a trip to Germany, and I've flown in and out of Germany through, my time in the military, but I've never spent time in Germany. And that's something that I've always wanted to check off my bucket list. And so now I have an opportunity to travel with another couple that's friends, and their son is stationed over there. So that's going to be pretty cool. And it's one of those things, it's like, I don't really have the money to do this, but I'm going to find the money to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's an opportunity that I may not ever get.
Yeah.
So I take those advantages whenever I can. But at the same time, like you said, parents growing up, my parents were divorced, and it was my mom and my brother and I. Yeah. And so, single household, and we didn't have a lot of money, but we never went without, Yeah. Sometimes we would have potato soup for dinner.
Right.
But
hamburger helper with some breadcrumbs in there and stuff like that.
Yeah. But, we didn't pay any mind to that,
And it's just not the same. I'm sure every generation has said something like this where it's like, oh man, parents had it good, like all this stuff. And it's like, but if you look at the rate of inflation and the rate of the cost of even just housing, compared to salaries,
it's not
astronomically different. It's crazy. And I'm not a numbers dude. Luckily, I married an absolutely brilliant woman who controls all of our finances and puts me on spending limits and everything else, unfortunately. To our, it's been great. But, she does all the bills and everything else, and she looks at all that stuff. And, we recently built our cabin, which has been fantastic. It cost a lot of money, but it's one of those things that we really wanted to do.
And that's an investment too.
That is, and that's why we built it. It's not, a summer cabin that we go to all the time, and we're renting it out, and people are renting it, which is great. But it's stuff like that where, we saved up for years, absolutely years, and we were super frugal, and we put all the money towards debt, and we got out of debt very, very soon after getting married. And just, we didn't go on a lot of vacations, and we didn't eat out, and we didn't do all this stuff, and followed Dave Ramsey, which has been fantastic. But, you look at, again, some of my friends, and I don't know how they're doing this, because I know them, I know who they work for, and I'm like, you're not making $300,000 a year, $500,000 a year, whatever it is. They're going on vacation every other month, and they're buying they're leasing cars, and they're, flying to whoever, and it's like, what's your 401k look like? What's your savings look like? Are you lose your job today, or do you have any sort of safety net to follow that up on?
Right.
And if you look at like the average of 401ks for my age bracket, which is 36, it's like nothing. It's like $50,000. And it's like, what are you doing? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. I looked at my my 401ks. Now, admittedly, I also purchased land, right?
Yep. We got to talk about that too.
Yeah, I liquidated half of one of my IRAs. Half of one of my IRAs I liquidated to help pay for the down payment and have some money set aside for, improvements
Right.
and cabin and stuff like that. And all of that is an investment. If something happens where it's like, holy crap, I need to trim the fat, and I need to trim as much as I possibly can, that's the first thing that's going to go.
Right.
And I will make my money back, and more than likely I'll make money on top of that. So
It's
it is
an
an
investment too.
right?
Yeah.
Especially when that's something that is not being made more of, right?
Right.
So
Land.
that's always not necessarily a good investment, but it is an option, right? But needless to say, when it comes to, just looking at going back to seeing my son, I was talking about my IRAs. So I did liquidate half of my IRAs. But even still, I've already gained all that money back that I've liquidated through my investments and working with my, I work through Edward Jones.
Okay.
Manages my money for my retirement. And my instructions to my investor was, your job is to make me money.
Yeah.
And I'm already I'm on the bad side of 45, and I don't have much time, so it needs to be as risky as possible.
Yeah.
I need you to make my money.
Yeah.
And they're like, I got you.
All right.
I know exactly what we need to do. So
EFTs and
oh yeah. It is so risky right now. But that IRA has already made all of its money back.
Good.
I have a secondary IRA that was the 401k from my previous job, and
you just rolled it.
It rolled into an IRA, but it's a traditional, instead of an
Roth.
IRA. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm like, is there a way to combine that? And they're like, it's more hassle than you want to deal with. So I just leave that alone. Okay, there's that. And then with my day job, I've got my 401k. So when you pull all of that together, I'm sitting at this point, I'm sitting close to 300,000.
Nice.
Which is pretty decent, especially now with my dad and his situation. We just found out that he's got dementia, and we've worked to get him in a home, and it's been a stressful couple of months, but I think we're hopefully over the hump with that portion of it. But I've been managing his money for about 3 years now, and because of him now transitioning into a long-term care facility, I've had to dive deep into his finances. And I'm like, oh, holy cow, he has a lot of money socked away,
But that's that generation.
Well, but the interesting thing though, that was really he didn't start saving until later in life.
Interesting. Okay.
And it didn't start saving, and I don't know exactly when. He's always been pretty frugal with money to begin with, but he didn't start really saving until he married my stepmother. And so we're talking, by the time he retired, 15, 20 years maybe?
That's not a long time.
It's not.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he was probably
Just
maxing out.
dumping everything
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Which is crazy, because I'm coming up on 12 years in like a professional aspect of work. And my parents told me the same thing. Like they were great with their money. And they said, max out your 401k all the time, no matter what. They're like, if you do it from the very beginning, you will never miss the money.
Yeah.
And I haven't. I mean, there's been times where it's like, oh man, I wish I had that 18%. Like, that's
dude,
huge.
I know. I've looked at my pay stub and I was like, oh, I didn't
Where the
realize I
heck
was
is this
dropping
going?
that much money into it.
It's in it, which is great.
I'm pretty sure like my job, they match.
Yeah.
So
you personally can put in, I think it's 21,000.
Yeah.
I think that's the max for 401k, but then they can match.
Yeah.
As well,
And
whatever that is.
And last I looked, I was like, it was like over $500.
Oh yeah.
Paycheck, and I was like, oh, What?
Where's all this money going?
It's
Seriously.
like, holy, you mean I could have $500 more a month?
I know. It's terrible. So ours comes out, I think it's biweekly, and I have all of our HSA, our child care FSA, our health insurance, any of our life insurance, and then like 401k. And it's like, look at all that money. It's like, why is my paycheck so freaking small? It's like, okay, well, that's where all it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, if any advice to anybody younger is stop going into debt, get out of debt very quickly, and just live like no one else so you can live like no one else, as Dave Ramsey said. Also, he does a bunch of dumb stuff with, like, don't have credit cards and pay cash for your house.
Of
and
course,
stuff. Like,
yeah.
In what world do I have $500,000 sitting around to drop on a house that's about what you're going to have to pay for any sort of house that is livable?
And then, but don't forget though, Big Daddy Trump, he helped us out here with 50-year mortgages.
Yeah, that's dude. Oh my gosh, that was when that came out. I was like, what idiot in their right mind? Do you know how much freaking interest?
Oh yeah,
absolutely astronomical. So our cabin, we pay a decent amount. I mean, obviously we're renting it out. So imagine we're paying $3,200 a month for our cabin mortgage. I think it's $500 goes to principal. Everything else goes to interest.
Mm-hmm.
$500
mm-hmm.
out of $3,200.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it's like, I think that whole thing is a scam in general. The interest part of it, and I know Florida's looking at, no property tax and everything else, which
Kansas is doing it too.
Yeah, are they really?
Yeah,
oh.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And if they do that, they're going to have to come up with the money somewhere.
Right. That's what your turnpike is. I'm waiting for my bill. When I drove down, I hit 68 tolls coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Kept track of them all. I have no idea if I'm supposed to pay them online or if I'm going to get a bill or what.
You should get a letter in the mail.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and it's not a you're going to get a traffic. It's just like, hey, here's your bill.
Perfect. All right.
That's what it should be. It's what it should happen.
Yeah, because there was a lot.
Yeah,
there was a lot of them,
and there you will hit 3 more before you get to Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But but so imagine this though. I'm going to share some information that's, I don't know if I'm really supposed to, but if Kansas does abolish property tax in the state of Kansas, that means that Nan will be $7,500 richer every year.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot.
It's $7,500 for property tax on something that she already owns.
Right.
She was very gifted in a situation that allowed her to pay cash for her home.
Yeah.
And it's a unfortunate situation how that happened, but at the same time it's been a blessing for her. But even still, one of the things that she brought up just in December, as we get the property tax statement to pay for the next year, she turned to me and she was like, if you hadn't moved in, I couldn't afford this house anymore.
I mean, it's what, $630 a month?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
You own it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't quite. And I mean, we, from a U.S. standpoint, I forgot when that was put into place. Taxes weren't like this, and we had roads and we had trains.
I can tell you exactly when it happened. That was freaking 1914.
There it is. Yep.
Yes.
I knew it was back then somewhere, but yeah, it's just crazy. We're at a point now, and I hate even saying this. I love this country. I really do. Like, greatest country on earth. People are incredible. Even if I don't agree with half of them.
Sure.
There's still a lot of really good people from quote unquote the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they really are just good people in general.
Are you saying that there are good people on both sides?
There were some good people on both sides. Yes. Yeah. There are. Don't put those words in my mouth. That's good. But yeah, it's not to get super patriotic, but it is part of our duty to say, at some point, enough's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we are too privileged and too comfortable and have too much, and I'm talking about you and I, kids, jobs,
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends, wives, and it's like too comfortable to do something about it.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Like there's a meme, and it's one of the IRA guys in the balaclava, and it's like straight white males trying to figure out how to do something about the Epstein files without getting in trouble. It's like, I'll tell you what, I'm not willing to go to jail, unless it's for my kids.
Yeah.
I would never last in jail.
Well, and it brings up the only other time that I've ever seen people come together to like put themselves in a very jeopardizing situation was
Bundy.
was that
Bundy? Not Ted Bundy. Sorry.
Right.
Ranch.
Bundy Ranch. Yeah. Like what James Yeager went out there,
Yep.
And I was just starting to get into my quote unquote awakening. I was still at my very infancy at that point. And I didn't really quite understand what the heck was going on, But even then I was like, ooh, that's going to be a really bad situation. And it was very close to being a very bad situation. But that's the last time that I've ever seen anyone really stand up against, I suppose there's some people that would say, well, no, that's exactly what happened in the Twin Cities right now.
Yeah, but yes and no, truthfully. I mean, it's, they went against the federal government and everything else. It is Bundy, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Bundy Ranch.
Bundy Ranch,
yeah,
okay.
I think that
There's
was
some
correct.
interesting photos of guy with, I think it's Zastava on the bridge.
Yeah,
That's the AK that he's got.
Yep.
But yeah, people are, and that's, to go back to the Kansas or the Minneapolis thing, that's what's so funny is the polar opposites where, and I can't speak for the rest of the country, but everyone I've talked to, specifically down in Arizona, we're like, oh, you down here visiting? Yeah, from Minneapolis. And they're like, oh,
yeah.
like from Minneapolis, or, do you agree with them? And like that, they insinuate what the hell's going on up there. And it's like, it's embarrassing for the rest of the country to see this. People in Twin Cities are pumped. Like, truthfully, like they really are. Minneapolis as a whole is predominantly very left-leaning. Specifically where I live is also predominantly very left-leaning. And they're like, oh man, we beat the federal government. Like this is fantastic. Like the feds aren't here anymore and blah, 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 blah. And they are pumped that their governor also quote unquote beat the federal government, while at the same time he's proposing to give money back to the Somali-run businesses that were affected by all this, because apparently Somali-run businesses are getting less money. And it's like, did we forget the last 3 months where they're discovering millions, if not billions of dollars in fraud on this? It's like, what is going on?
Center?
The Leering Center?
Leering.
But it's called suicidal empathy, I think is what the terminology I read about. And it's like, you empathize with a group, a cause, something so deeply that all of your common sense, all of the logic, all of your self-preservation just goes out the window. So you have all these people that are potentially, and I'm not going to say they are because I don't know, like they haven't done the investigation yet, but there at least is $220 million that were stolen from Minnesota taxpayers that they are currently prosecuting or have prosecuted people for. And you have all these people that are willing to die for these people who hate our way of life. They hate us, and they come in and they take advantage of the system and everything else. And it's like, you've got all these middle-aged white ladies who are ecstatic to stand in front of cars and ecstatic to get pepperballed in the face for people that don't care about us.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird. The whole thing is just strange.
It is. And it almost, again, and not to get way tinfoil hat here, but it's almost like, it almost seems as if it's by design, Yeah. You can't tell me that this chaos is not by design.
Well, I mean, we're studying Revelation this month in church, and the main question, it's so funny. Everyone, are we in the end times? Are we in the end times and stuff like that? And the short answer is yes, because when Jesus rose up into heaven, that ushered in the start of the end times. If you look at the Bible and Revelation and everything else, he explains that. That doesn't mean it's now. That doesn't mean it's today. That means we are continuously moving towards that point. But if you look at some of the crazy stuff that's happening, and it's like, are we though? I don't know. Get yourself right. Because I don't have a clue.
And there's a lot of people that are starting to point to the book of Revelations when it comes to certain aspects of like the mark of the beast, you know, and they start talking about certain ways of like paying for things, you know, and
the chips.
And exactly. Yeah. They started that popped up last year. And people are like, oh, well, and all of a sudden that just kind of disappeared, you know? No one's talking about that anymore, you know? But all of just looking at what's happening as we are recording this, we're recording on March 1st. You know, we just launched a military operation into Iran.
A 3-day, what do we call it? What did Russia call it? 3-day military operation.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you're starting to see, you know, the technology that is being used, and obviously, you know, drones are a big thing, right? We've seen in Ukraine how much drones have changed the battlefield, and I don't know how much footage you've watched from.
Disgusting amount.
Yes, same here. Not because I want to. It's just because it's in my feed. You know, because of being in the gun sphere and stuff. That stuff just naturally flows in.
Yep.
And I can tell you right now that if I was drafted into service, I don't know if I would want to go.
No.
The drone aspect of warfare now is nightmarish to me.
It's terrifying.
It is
absolutely terrifying.
So to see how technology has advanced, and the logical next step is to then remove the human element out of it. You know, that's the logical next step.
That's
which
all
then
it is.
Next thing you know, Skynet becomes self-aware. We're only 2 years away from that happening.
There we go. That is
2029.
2029. It is crazy. It part of super funny. Revelation, the mark of the beast, if you translate it from Aramaic or Hebrew, whatever it is, it actually comes out to AI.
Really?
No. But it's so that was the joke. That was the joke our pastor made.
Oh, that's
and it
good.
just went dead silent. Everyone's like, oh, and he's like, I just made that up. But that's the perfect example of where everyone's like, oh, AI is the mark of the beast, or this is blah, 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 like all this different stuff. But it's so funny because it's like in the Bible, nobody knows. Only God knows. Jesus doesn't know. Nobody knows when he's coming back. But if you look at just some of the crazy stuff that's happening, it's like, is it? I don't know. Crazy. I'm gonna say it's gonna be March 24th. That's when it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Naturally.
The Mayans told me. That's when it is. No, but it's crazy. The drone stuff is terrifying. Like, truthfully, really, really scary. Thankfully, I think the U.S. in general is more technologically advanced to like stop some of that stuff. But then you look at what just happened down in Texas last night, the mass shooter down in Texas.
I saw that. I didn't see. I've heard a couple of different what do they call it? Reasons behind it. That it was supposedly a lone gunman who was carrying out a jihad.
The dude had a "In the Hands of Allah" shirt on. He had a Quran in his car. He was a refugee from Senegal. So it's like they're treating it as an act of terrorism. But to the drone point, it's like anyone can order on Amazon a payload dropping attachment for a drone.
Yeah.
Anyone can order a drone. You can make a lot of stuff at home. And it's like, you can't stop that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's
3D printing is a thing.
It is a thing.
And 3D printing has, just in the short period of time that I've been aware of it, just in the last probably 3 years that I've really started to pay attention to it. It has advanced so much that it's no longer PLA.
Yeah.
It is more other stuff that I just took which I got to remember exactly. So it would have been March of 24. I took a trip to go to the corporate offices and of my day job, and one of the things they did was they had a tour of their R&D facility, and one of the areas was their 3D printing, to where they were 3D printing metal in such a way that they could 3D print like tank tracks
Really?
without any type of stabilization to it, right? So when you print when you do 3D printing of like PLA, you always have the stabilizers,
Yep. All
the whole
fingers and stuff.
yeah, exactly,
out.
the whole thing's right. They could do it without any of it,
That's
and
crazy.
it was already articulating.
Really?
Yes,
So nothing is fused.
correct.
That's nuts. I mean,
Correctly.
look at suppressors. You've got I forgot the name
The
of it.
Zvuk.
Yeah, the Zvuk suppressor right there. And it's so cool. And granted, I love that they took the 0% tax, or sorry, the $0 tax stamps or whatever. Should that be there? No. Shouldn't have to pay for that. And shouldn't have to even do that anyway. But it is allowing so many more companies to do really cool things, to get back onto the gun side. You look at Micah Mayfield and the Tisha, and I'm waiting for the 30 cal to come out to throw in my Rattler. But that's awesome. Like stuff like that is so freaking cool. And I've always wanted one of those little suppressors like that. But
Purposely induced porosity. That's
the word you're looking for.
That's the word I was looking for early.
Right.
So we were
porosity.
talking before we started recording. We were looking at the Zustava USA Zvuk, which is their titanium 3D printed can, and the technology that they're using is what they call the PIP, or purposely induced porosity, which then allows it to be more of a low back pressure, or quote unquote flow through,
okay.
right? But we can't use that term because that's copyrighted by Huxworks. So Huxworks will make sure we'll get you the 50-cent check
There you
sent
go.
your way, but yeah. Personally, I will tell you, and this is a comment that I actually made to Nan just yesterday, is I can't stand 3D printing.
Yeah.
Right? I can't stand the look of it because you can see all of the printing lines and stuff like that. Now, we're still in the infancy still. So I'm sure in another 5 years, another 10 years, that will be
It'll just be like machining.
Yeah. It's just, just look at like video games, right? When Atari came out, it was like 4-bit, and it's just a whole bunch of blocks moving around. And then Nintendo came out, and it was 8-bit, and that was a little bit better. And that was kind of, you could use your imaginations to figure out what was going on. But then, NES and PlayStation 2, Xbox One, and so on and so forth. And we've seen how video games have gone from just a bunch of squares and blocks to, CGI level creations, right? And that's exactly what we're going to see with 3D printing as well. But we are a society that wants instant gratification, so
I'm part of that.
Yeah. So,
is that 3D printed?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
So you can always tell by the color.
Yes.
Like the color is dead giveaway. And I want to look more into that because it's a neat technology on how that's done just in general. Like how do you 3D print metal?
Well, it's not even that. There's a guy that we've had on the podcast several times, and he 3D prints carbon fiber.
Oh,
yes. And so the way that they were doing it when I went to the R&D facility with my day job, and the way that he does it, same thing, is they basically lay down a layer of dust of that material, whether it's metal, where it's carbon fiber or whatever, and then it's basically a lightning bolt is sent into that material
To energize it.
and to energize it, and then to bond it, and then they have another layer they just go layer by
That's
layer.
So weird.
It's just a dusting and a dusting and a dusting, and then they shock it and shock it
To make it go into shape.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Yeah.
weird. Whoever
And
invented that stuff, brilliant.
Exactly, and it's shocked in such a way. And this is for you 3D printing nerds out there. This is the most basic understanding of what's going on here, but it's basically shocked in such a way that it is shocked in the form that they want it.
Magic.
Yeah.
It's
so
magic.
it's literally magic.
That's all you have to explain it by. I don't understand any of it.
I know.
Not a clue. But no, I think the in the next couple of years, even with, I don't know if NFA is going to go away. Honestly, I highly doubt it. Like, just in general. But some really cool stuff is coming out with some of this.
Well, we have seen just in the last 3 or 4 months, we've probably seen. Well, my joke from SHOT Show was we saw 50 new suppressor manufacturers in 2026, and in 2027 we will see 50 less suppressor manufacturers, because it's just not sustainable, right? The industry is hurting so bad right now, which that's what we hear. But talking to the owner of the local gun shop that I hang out at all the time, he's like, he leaned over to me just a couple days ago, and he's like, I hate to complain about this, but we are just like crazy busy.
Slammed. Yeah.
Yeah. And
as in people buying guns?
Yeah. I mean, so his business is a gun shop masquerading as a pawn shop.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay. So
they do have business that is pawn related. They have non-firearm products, that they sell, that buy, sell, trade. They do, payday loans and that type of stuff.
This one right next to where I'm staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but he was like, normally the 4473s, he processes those about once a week.
Okay.
Now he's doing it about once every other day, once every 3 days.
I mean, I think that's in general, and not to, again, beat a dead horse on the Minneapolis thing. So I got a call from, what's the guy's name? He's an NBC investigative reporter from New York. And literally I was walking through Home Depot and answered my phone, and he's like, hey, this is so-and-so from NBC. I'm an investigative reporter. And I was like, what did I do? And why are you calling me?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And he's like, well, and I was like, listen, I don't normally talk to reporters at all. If I ever have somebody ever calls. I was like, what's this about? And he goes, well, I saw you were a firearms instructor in the Twin Cities. And so I had a couple questions for you. I was like, okay. So I created a business to teach permit to carry classes so I could buy night vision, and then bought night vision, and then never did another class again. So like that was it. My wife was like, you're not spending that kind of money, our money, on this. You figure some way to get it. Anyway.
Hence my YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's exactly. So he ended up getting my name off the BCA's website and gave me a call, and he's like, we're just doing a story on if people are scared in the Twin Cities, if you're getting an uptick in people asking for their to get trained for their permit to carry. I was like, funny enough, I haven't done a class in maybe 3 years, something like that. And I probably got 8 calls in a matter of a week after the first lady was shot, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't gotten a call in 2 years. I don't advertise at all whatsoever. I have no idea where people are getting my phone number from whatsoever. Like, I go through Google all the time and do like the kill my information on Google all the time, like just because I don't want people knowing my stuff. But yeah, got tons of calls. And so he actually quoted another guy that I know. I told him, we had a long conversation. Then I talked to my wife, and she's like, because we live in the Twin Cities, you have kids, do you want your name associated with anything that has to do with this? And I was like, truthfully, no, because there's a lot of freaking crazies out there that just do crazy things. So I told him, I said, don't use what I told you. And he's like, that's fine, no worries. But Yeah, massive uptick in people getting guns, permit to carry,
Yep.
all this stuff, which is great. More guns out there, I don't care. That's perfectly fine. The problem is it's a lot of people that probably shouldn't necessarily have firearms or not responsible enough
Mhm.
to have firearms or are not mentally mature enough
Exactly.
to have
That's a good way to
firearms.
say it.
That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring that up too, because I had a similar, not similar, but it's not similar, but it's kind of similar situation where a mutual friend of Nan and I's approached me and was like, "Hey, I am starting to do concealed carry courses. We've got a range. We've got access to a property that we can set up a range at, and I could use some help in just kind of like laying out how to do things. I've already got my curriculum, which is half the steps of conducting a course.
Right.
Actually presenting the information is completely different. You have the curriculum, but how do you discuss it in such a way that makes it palatable to people? And since he knew that I ran a YouTube channel, and I wouldn't say necessarily have the gift of gab, but have the ability to paint the picture for people,
you're
right?
good at it. Yeah.
He asked me if I was interested in helping out, and I was like, let me think it over.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I've never talked to him since.
Really?
And the reason why is because of, as I was listening to him kind of pitch it to me, his wife was with him, and she is a very nice lady, but she's the type of person that loves to talk.
Yeah. And
if you let her talk long enough, she's going to tell you everything you need to know.
Okay.
Either good or bad.
Yep.
Right? Even if she's trying to be cagey or dodgy, you just let her talk.
It all comes out.
Oh, yeah. So, and she made some comments that I was like, she was like, we've got some people who are really scared, and just because of who they are, and they feel like they're going to be persecuted, and they're just really worried that people are going to come after them, and so on and so forth, and the way that she was outlining some of this was like obviously some LGBT group of people and some immigrants and stuff like that, and I'm like, interesting. And this is not too long after the election.
Okay.
Right. So I would say early 25 is when I was approached. And once I heard all of that, and I was like, let me think it over.
Yeah.
It took me about 30 seconds to be like, I do not want to be anywhere near that.
Yeah. Because,
and here's the reason why. I'm like you. Yes, I want the peripheral. I can't even.
I know
say
the
it.
word you're trying to say,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to try to say it because I'm going to butcher it too.
So I want more people.
Proliferation.
Yes, there
is
it
that
is.
it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I want more people to have access to firearms, because the more people who have access, who are responsible, then that desensitizes the stigma behind it, right? Not to say that everybody's going to be perfect, not to say that there's not going to be bad things that happen. There will always be, just like
because there's bad people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or people who are just irresponsible, such as drinking and driving,
Yeah.
those types of things. But what I took issue for was that these people who were coming to me and asking for my help to help the people that they wanted to help are the same type of people who would have voted all of this stuff to be away.
Did vote.
Yes, who did vote.
100%.
Who wanted to have all of this stuff taken away, but now their ass is on fire, and they need the things that they were going to vote away to protect themselves. It was very hypocritical, and I was like, first off, I don't want to be any of that at all, and number two, it's a real good way to get Chris Kyled.
Yeah. I tell you what, the hypocrisy, and I'm not saying there's not hypocrisy on the right.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the hypocrisy on the left is just freaking astounding. Just like you mentioned earlier, you can't ask for my ID. There's no, or the open borders, all this stuff. By the way, is that a rental car? I need to see your ID to make sure you live in this neighborhood.
Yes.
Shit like that is
Yeah.
just, it blows my freaking mind. At the same time, you've got, and I was talking to the reporter about this actually too. We had a great conversation, which a little annoyed I'm so cagey about that. But right after that dude got shot in Minneapolis, excuse me, Trump came out and he was like, well, he carried a gun to a protest. Kash Patel came out and said, you can't be carrying a gun to a protest.
He had 2 magazines.
Yeah. What are you talking about? You have every right, unequivocally, to carry, and again, this is an unpopular opinion, carry wherever you want. I don't care. I carry everywhere. Does not matter. When they came out and said that, it's like, okay, you had the right, quote unquote, the right, who was saying, Second Amendment for everyone, you should be able to carry a weapon, all this stuff. They all of a sudden came out and said, no, you know what? You can't carry it in these situations. Also, you should be shot because you're carrying this. Absolutely not.
No.
100%.
Yep.
Then you have the left defending now the Second Amendment, saying, well, no, he shouldn't have been shot. He has every right to carry and all this stuff. And it's like the mental gymnastics that just happened in 12 hours is crazy. Like, do people not see this? And I don't know. Again, I try to think as logically about this as possible and try to see it from the other side. And I didn't used to do that. I used to be like, no, this is what it is. This is what I believe. And this is what I believe. But I try to at least see it from the other point of view.
Yeah.
And say, like, is this a logical point of view? Do I understand it? And, if I don't, great, forget it. I'm going to stick to my guns. But to your point, you have all these people who told us we were evil, told us we were terrible people, told us we were children killers, and you're the ones who are enabling school shootings, and you should be ashamed of what happened in Annunciation Church, who was a trans person again. Also, almost didn't come to Kansas because Jeff was telling me that you guys are a no-go state for trans. Don't know if I can support that. Completely joking. But you have all these people who are completely against it until they realize what it's for. Which is great. The awakening of the Second Amendment is phenomenal. It's for tyranny from the government. Like that is what it's for. And these people now are like, oh shit, kind of understand why you have it. I still don't want you to have guns, but I understand why you wanted them. So yeah, the hypocrisy from either side is just.
Well, it's so funny too. You bring up the hypocrisy because now Mamdani in New York, he just got pulled into it. He was like, "Hey, we need everyone who's going to volunteer to be emergency snow shovelers.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you have your photo ID,
2 forms of ID,
and your social security card."
Yep.
And they're like, well, wait a second. Why do you need all of these documents just to shovel snow? And they said, well, that's a requirement. That's a federal requirement.
Yep.
And
so we can pay you is what they were saying.
Yeah. But all the while, not reading the room at all as to why they're even asking that question.
I know.
Like,
the best part is New York is finding out in real time that why socialism does not work.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it is, I'm here for it. It's hysterical. You've got, he came in saying, we're going to do free buses. We're going to do free mass transportation and all this stuff. Raised it by like 9% the first month he was in.
Yep.
The tax for the rich and all this stuff. Nope, can't do that. But we are going to raise property taxes. And like, it is the funniest thing I have ever seen. And it's great. Like, will people learn the lesson? No. They're going to continue to do the same thing. Well, it didn't work this time. Maybe next time it'll work.
Well, it's his form of socialism. It didn't work. And I'm like, well, wait, okay, hold on a second. Show me one that has.
Yeah. I think it's Sweden is the only one that is like not Sweden.
Oh, no. Well, no. Yes, that's what everybody points to.
That's what everyone points to.
But Sweden, the president of Sweden has even come out and is like, hey, that's not, no, we're not. What's his name? The old dude that got undercut by Hillary.
Bernie?
Bernie Sanders, yeah. He kept on referring to, you've got the Democratic Socialists in
that sounds just
Subway in Sweden. I said Subway. I don't know why I said Subway. And the president was like, we're not Democratic Socialists.
Interesting.
We're not at all, right? They have socialism aspects to their infrastructure for sure, like medical and education.
Yeah.
But holistically, they're not.
Gotcha.
Do they have higher taxes? Yes, they have higher taxes, but that is to cover these, what they consider basic needs.
Okay.
But what like Mondani is trying to do in New York is take away from these high earners,
The rich, yeah.
yeah, and then give it away.
That's what Robin Hood did, and that
Yeah, I
was
know,
great.
right?
Yeah.
But then he quickly found out, hey, you remember all those people that gave you money to become mayor?
Yeah.
You're now saying that you're going to take their money, and they're not really happy about that.
They're not going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is so funny seeing some of that in real time. And like that reminded me, I was listening to Joe Rogan today. I had like an 8-hour drive.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to a bunch of them. And he was talking about just different political stuff that was going on. One of them was Iran. And his guest, and who was it? It was Gladiator. What's that guy's name?
Russell Crowe?
Thank you. Yes,
Oh.
Russell Crowe. So Russell Crowe was talking through that movie that he just did about I'm blanking, the Nazi dude.
I'll have to look it up.
Nuremberg.
Oh,
Movie Nuremberg.
Okay.
Phenomenal movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
I have
really,
not.
really good. So he was Hermann Göring.
oh, okay.
Anyway, so this divulged into different political aspects or whatever. And he was trying to say, you know, I tried to humanize the Nazi that was Hermann Göring. And it was like, he was a real human. He was not, you know, from the movie and everything else. I don't know much about him, but was not the best human being on the face of the earth. Still human. If you look at Gaddafi and his whole, everything that happened with Gaddafi, Russell Crowe was saying that, you know, this dude did horrible things, absolutely horrible things. But if you look at his country, all of education was free. If somebody was really smart and they wanted to get outside education from a different country, that was paid for by the government. They were all given a house by a certain age. You all got a house, like all these different things. So you could have these polar opposites of this dude murdered tons of people, but at the same time was helping a bunch of people out. I don't know where that came from. That just popped in my head from Joe Rogan. Oh, Mamdani, which reminded me thinking of Gaddafi.
Yeah.
Same names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but the interesting thing is, you'll notice if you start diving deep into Libya, you know, one of the reasons why Gaddafi was ousted, sure, not a good person. I'm not here to argue that fact, but realistically, he had been not a good person for decades.
Right.
No one ever messed with him. No one ever messed with him up until the point that he was working on creating his own currency.
Yes.
That was backed by gold.
Yes.
Yep. And then all of a sudden they were like, well, we can't have that.
U.S. government's like, I don't know if I like that. You're kind of a bad person now.
You're a really bad person.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's the same. And again, Russell Crowe was talking about, you know, if I say Hermann Göring was a real person, I'm a Nazi sympathizer and all this other stuff. And it's so funny. Like you start looking at what books were burned in 1933 and like all these other different things.
It's interesting that we have never talked about, up until here in the last couple of years, we've never talked about exactly what books.
Right.
They always just said they burned books.
And it was the assumption that it was the Bible and it was, you know, great texts and all this other stuff. And it's like,
no,
that's not
really.
what it was.
But you bring up a point about Russell Crowe saying that he was trying to humanize Göring.
Yeah.
And Christoph Waltz, who played Landa in Inglourious Basterds, they asked him, how were you able to portray such a villainous character? How were you able to create someone who no one liked? And his response to it was basically, I was portraying an individual who felt like they were in the right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Russell Crowe said. He's like, deep down, he was a patriot.
Yes.
He loved his country.
Yeah.
Was it a skewed thought process about his country? Potentially.
Yeah.
Probably.
And how did it get there?
Right.
How did Germany get to a point where they could freely elect, quote unquote, such a type of ideology, and it's our own fault.
Right.
You know, you go back to World War I. You can either agree or disagree of how that like transpired, but at the end of the day, it happened. And then when it was over, the Treaty of Versailles just completely eviscerated. Yes, Germany.
Yep.
So much so that people were using Deutschmarks for wallpaper because that's what it was worth. And then you have this guy who has a whole bunch of ideologies that was like, hey, we need to bring back tradition to our country. We need to bring back our identity. We need to bring back our patriotism. And, oh, by the way, these people over here are the reasons why, you know, they were, you know, it was easy for that perfect storm to materialize.
And it's not even like, obviously did terrible things, like horrible things.
Yeah.
But you can see if you put yourself in a 1933 German person's head, country is in the shithole. We can't produce anything. We can't buy anything. Sanctions are going crazy. We can't get ahead. Like, period. You have a guy that comes in that says, hey, guess what? I'm going to change all this. Starts to change all this. Country's going great. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, everything's great. Like, he was right. This is perfect. Everything's fantastic. So it's so funny to see. The more you look into history, history is written by the victors is the most accurate
100%.
Sentence that you could ever utter. And it's like, okay, what else was lied about? What else was manipulated? What else was and it's a good thing the good guys won all the time. And it's like, it's so good. Like, U.S. is always right. We're always great. We're the best, you know, all this stuff. And again, I love this country. Phenomenal country. We have a horrible government. And again, it's a good thing the good guys won and that our history books were, produced by Maxine, whatever her name is, her dad.
Yeah.
That's always good. I'm glad we're reading history from that one.
Yeah. And there's so do you remember do you know Dugan Ashley?
That name sounds very familiar.
So he's the guy from Carnicon.
Dugan Ashley.
Oh man, I know he has the AK song. I'm going to shoot the AK. I'm going to pull up something on my my phone, and the moment that you see it,
I'm sure I'll remember it.
And it's not the actual song itself, but it's a clip of him.
We need Jamie. Jamie, pull this up.
I know, right? It's just a repeat of him just shaking his head. But
okay, yeah.
You've seen, recognize him?
Maybe.
Yeah.
The
Anyways,
name sounds familiar.
So Dugan Ashley, he is a Green Beret.
Okay.
And did some cool stuff in GWAT and all that type of stuff. Gets out, gets into early gun tube. So 2014, 2016, somewhere there.
Okay.
Starts up a channel called Carnicon, and it's all spoofs. Right? It's everything that he does is a spoof of whatever, and it's just like here's the new SIG P320 before it had all the problems, right? And he's
what
like,
problems?
I know, right? Exactly. And he's like in these like 80s style ugly sweaters.
Okay.
And he's just like laying on his side talking about it and just doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff.
Okay.
You can still see it. Carnicon's way gone, but someone has archived it, and you can watch all of the different videos.
Gotcha.
And they're every single one of them is a gem. I wish we could go back to that type of YouTube
content again. Yeah.
But he went away.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he popped back up on Twitter. And I was like, holy crap, that's Dugan Ashley. So I send him a message on Twitter and I was like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. I do a live chat on my YouTube channel. I would love to have you on to talk about, Carnicon and where you've been, where you're going, and all this other stuff. He was like diagnosed with like ALS or something like that.
Oof. Okay.
So he's kind of going through that now.
Yeah.
But he's come back again, back onto YouTube.
Okay.
And he is his YouTube channel. He doesn't promote it. He doesn't. He's on Twitter every once in a while or Instagram, and he pops up and he'll say something and then he'll disappear again.
Okay.
But his YouTube channel is all about explosives.
Okay.
And how to make explosives.
Interesting.
And all these different compounds and all of these different solutions that he's
What's
pulling
it called?
together. Doug.
All right.
D-U-G.
I'm gonna have to look
That's
that
it,
up.
right?
Not
And
for any particular
it's
reason.
just interest,
for
right?
science,
It's chemistry.
of course.
Everybody's interested in chemistry, right? So my whole point, though, was he came on to my live chat. He sat in his car for like 2 hours on his phone. It was like probably 40 degrees outside.
That's awesome.
And he just rattles off, and he just goes off and goes off and goes off. And one piece of the things that he talked about was the Ukrainian famine.
Okay.
And the Ukrainian famine was generated by the Soviet Union, and it killed, it was damn near a genocide of the Ukrainian people by the Soviet Union because they wanted control of all of the crops within Ukraine
Okay.
to feed the Soviet Union because all of the farmers had died because they weren't able to sustain crops and everything. So they were basically stealing from Peter to pay Paul.
Gotcha.
And killing Peter at the same time. And if they kept on doing what they were going to do, it's not going to sustain itself.
Right.
And he just went on and on and on and on. I'm just like, I have no
Where's
idea.
this coming from?
I was like, I have no idea what this is all about.
Yeah.
And he was like, you look it up. And I was like, okay, I'll check into it. And I didn't.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden with, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, all of that history stuff starts popping up again about the Soviet Union and freaking the wheat famine and all of that type of stuff as well. And I was like, holy cow, freaking Dugan was right all along.
Pops out of the woodwork, drops some knowledge, and then just scurries
exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, it goes back to your point of the victors write the history, and obviously Soviet Union didn't want that information to get out, but it eventually did. It's just like, and I know it's sensationalized. I know it's not 100% accurate. It's probably not even 60% accurate, but the Chernobyl series on HBO.
Great series.
Oh my goodness.
Great series. Acting phenomenal.
Oh yeah. There's a wonderful series. It's a hard watch.
It is, yeah.
I love that series, but I hate watching it.
Yeah.
Does that
rough.
make sense?
Yeah. They actually just declassified, I don't know if you've seen any of these, they just declassified, I don't know if this was Russia or somebody got a hold of it, a lot of the archival footage from Chernobyl, like actual footage from the USSR at the time, and it shows like the dudes in the hospitals just wasting away. And it's horrendous.
Their skin just falling off.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's another. I won't get into that stuff, but the magic of nuclear power, like that stuff's wild.
Well, see, and that was one of the things that you talk about Joe Rogan. He's talked about the concept of nuclear power and how we need to seriously sit down and take a second look at nuclear power.
100%.
Because people are always like, oh, well, what about 3 Mile Island? And what about Chernobyl? And what about the one in
Fukushima or whatever it is.
And Joe actually brought up a really good point, or at least maybe his guest that was talking about it. I can't remember who it was or who made the comment, but each one of those facilities were already decades old.
Yeah.
and they were not maintained properly.
I
Now,
mean, it's Russia.
well, yeah, that was Russia, and
Yeah.
then same with 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
It was already at I think when it started to have its issues, it was pushing 20 plus years old.
Okay.
Fukushima.
That was an act of God. Like,
Mhm.
can't stop that.
Yeah. With the Japan incident, that was a hurricane
Yep.
or
Sorry,
a typhoon.
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. And but that facility also several decades old as well.
Yeah.
So, as long as, and I already know how this is going to go, but as long as we sit down and set in safety regulations to ensure that these facilities are properly maintained, then yes, I think that we should look into it. However, it's going to get corporatized, which means that they're going to start cutting costs to maximize profits, which then means that
Something's going to happen. Yeah.
right? So that's just how it goes.
That's the way it is.
But if, and this is the unfortunate hypocrisy of me, if the government gets involved and the Department of Energy is actually maintaining these facilities like they should be, then who's to say that they couldn't work out,
Right.
But come on.
I mean, it's a weird, and again, I don't pretend to know anything about nuclear fission or whatever that goes. From what I've seen or what I've read, it's like the amount of energy it produces compared to wind, solar, like everything else, just astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very relatively low risk, like for a meltdown to happen or something like that. It's just, it's not, I don't know.
So
But again, I don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but
well, in the 3 cases that we've talked about, Chernobyl was a man-made incident that the people were not following the proper procedures, and their own hubris and egos got involved, right? As the Soviet Union, at least how it's portrayed to us, anyway.
We do know wrong.
Exactly.
We are the USSR.
Exactly. Yeah. With the Japan incident, that was a act of God.
Yeah.
But you could argue they probably should not have. They probably should not have put one right against the freaking ocean.
Yeah.
Right. And then 3 Mile Island, I will admittedly say that I don't fully understand exactly what happened either. But what I do think that I remember was it also involved something akin, not similar, not the same, but something very close to what happened in Chernobyl. As well. Like a test gone wrong.
Gotcha.
Type of situation.
Just don't test stuff and it would be fine.
I know, right?
It would be fine.
It'll be fine.
It'd be all right.
So, needless to say, those 3 incidences probably could have been, more than likely would have been preventable.
Yeah.
But again, as always, egos get in the way.
They do.
Yeah.
And not to bring up the Victor's thing again. I was just thinking you're talking about Chernobyl and the famine in Ukraine. We're not taught about the Bolsheviks and
who they were
and what happened to them in the 60-ish million who were killed. And so it's interesting again to see what is taught, how it's taught, much like Chernobyl. It's like, okay, it's dramatized and everything else, but
it's the contextual aspect of exactly how it's taught. I think that's
why is it taught like that?
Exactly.
What good is coming out of it? Well, we can kind of see it now
in
Iran, if I'm being honest with you. But it's a weird, the whole Victor's right, the history thing. It's a bummer. I understand it, but it's a bummer.
Well, I mean, so a lot of people will say that from a historical standpoint, a lot of people will say that the sacking of Alexandria set us back like 1,000 years.
Really?
Because
just from the mines that were there, or what?
Because of the Alexandria had the world's largest library.
Oh, yes.
And it was burned, right? They burned it to the ground. So there were some manuscripts that were able to be saved, but they were not. They weren't. There wasn't a lot of them.
Yeah.
There are some people who believe that there was technology that was unrivaled at the time.
Yeah.
And we could be, so much further advanced than what we are right now if Alexandria hadn't been sacked.
Interesting.
Which again falls into beating a dead horse here, but the victors write the the history, and just researching that piece of it, or just watching a documentary about that, is extremely interesting.
I have to check that out too. I still, I'm a huge World War II history buff. And I thought I knew, and I read this book. I don't read a lot of books, and I should read more books. I used to read a ton of books. I just don't have any time anymore. But I read this book, and it was a guy sat down with both the Axis and the Allies directly after the war, like 1950s, 1949-ish, and talked to the surviving generals, commanders of Axis and Allies, and put together like a chronological order of the last 3 months of the war, from the Axis side all the way down, and the Allied side all the way down, from Hitler's bunker to all these different places. Awesome book. It's phenomenal. I'll have to figure out what it is. Anyway, read that. It's great. But I do think it's very interesting, and all the stuff that I've researched. I mean, as any young man who loves Saving Private Ryan, loves Band of Brothers stuff, you dive into that stuff hard. At least I did. And all the research I ever did, you never see the stuff that's coming out now.
Yeah.
You never did. Even in school, never saw that. And I always went to relatively good schools, and I never really saw the agenda, I guess you could say, coming from the teachers. I always just expected them to, teach as they were. History is history. But the more stuff that's coming out, the more, and again, you even look at, there was a guy that wrote a whole book about the Holocaust and how he did all these studies on the surrounding forests in Dachau and all these different places. And it's nothing is taught. None of that stuff is taught. And it just keeps us dumb enough to
not question.
Yeah. Continue on with life. I don't know.
It's like they talk about how all of these bodies were from the Holocaust were buried at these different facilities, and now all of a sudden,
ground radar, and
you can't do it.
Nope,
you can't do it. Why can't you do it? Let's find out where it is so we can make sure that we mark it to make sure that nothing ever happens to that area. Nope, can't do it.
Yeah,
can't do
that
it.
Along with the the test. And again, I'm sure stuff happened. Sure it did. I wasn't there. I can only rely on what history has told us, and history is telling us one thing, and then you question, or not even question it, you just ask questions.
Yeah.
And okay, what about this? And then it starts pointing to different directions, and it's
why would there be a wood door on the gas chamber at Auschwitz?
It's just weird. It's so weird. And again,
if that's true, I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just that's a rumor.
I've been to Dachau.
Okay.
That was one place we went when I went over to Oktoberfest in Munich. Yeah. Sobering place, it's crazy.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But then you look into research in other places, and it's they're telling you one thing, but then, and it's so funny. So in Minneapolis, again, I'm just jumping around here. In Minneapolis, a lot of the signs that people have out were the administration, or they told you not to believe what you saw with your eyes, or whatever George Orwell says in 1984. The government of, I'm going to butcher the saying, whatever it is. But it comes back to this, where it's you see something, you question it, and they're don't ask that question.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even look at it. Don't research this. Don't do anything that could potentially jeopardize what we told you is true.
Because experts say.
Because so-and-so, and again, it's both sides. Trump has said, the files, it's just a hoax. By the way, here's 3 million pages. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
Wait a second.
Just a hoax. Why are we still talking? Here's 3 million pages.
Well, hey. The Dow's at
The
50,000.
Dow said, my gosh, dude, Pam Bondi, what an absolute just failure that we've had so far. That whole thing.
Oh,
It is funny. It is super funny. It is complete failure so far, which is a bummer. But
yeah, I think I'd like to be a bit of an optimist, because I would like to think that this bumbling is actually
planned.
not necessarily planned, but it's happening. Just like we were talking earlier. Nan said, things are going to happen as they should.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And maybe this bumbling is happening as it should, to awaken people to
Start
a lot of the
questioning.
normies.
Yeah.
There's okay, so my ex-wife and I, we have a very oddly
Very amicable.
very. I mean, we talk on a weekly basis at minimum,
Yeah.
if not almost daily, right? And of course, naturally, a lot of it has to do with our daughter, but a lot of it is, she'll just call me up and she's like, "Hey, I need a few minutes. Can I vent? Because I know that you'll understand my perspective."
Yeah.
Go ahead, shoot, right? But some of the things that that I'll mention to her about current events, she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't get political.
Right.
And I'm like, you work at the Pentagon. You might want to change that,
Take a look at that a little bit. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
one of the resources that I've started to dish her way is S2 Underground.
Okay.
And S2 Underground is a YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know, if you're not subscribed, you need to subscribe it, because this guy is a former intelligence analyst for one of either Army or maybe the Marines. I don't know. I think he's Army, just the way he talks. Some of the things that he says makes me think it's Army. Anyway, intelligence analyst that has now become a civilian, and he does The Wire. Yep.
There it is. Yep.
Comes out every day. As you'll see, they're only about 3-5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes.
And it is a quick update as to what's going on around the world, right? Not only internationally, but domestically as well.
The dude literally looks like Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Identical. I thought that was Ben Affleck doing it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
So that's something that I've dished her way, right? So it was funny yesterday when the Iranian military operation started happening. I was aware of it like at 5:30 yesterday morning, because I got up at 5:30 to make my way to the local range for the competition that I helped organize and shot. And so I was already up, already saw it, knew what was going on. So about 2:00 in the afternoon, I get a text, and she's like, "Hey, have you been seeing what's going on with Iran?" And I was like, "Yeah."
It was old news.
And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I've known about that since 5:30 this morning."
Yeah.
And this is in a group text that I'm in with my ex and daughter, and then her stepdad and Nan's in it. So it's like the parenting group type of thing. But Coriana's in it too. And so my daughter immediately responded, "Why were you up at 5:30 on a Saturday?"
Got to keep track of current events.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, and then this morning, the very first thing that I see when I open my eyes is I grab my phone to see what time it is.
Yeah.
And then I see a few notifications from some friends, and today was squatting for KB and stuff like that. So
is it today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I opened up Instagram, and the very first thing that pops up is Austin.
Right.
What happened in Austin. And all it is from Skinny Medic.
Yeah.
So he's actually looking at it from a paramedic's point of view.
Yeah.
And it's the aftermath, and everybody like basically doing chest
I
compressions.
saw
on
that
everybody.
one girl doing it. It's
Yeah,
just
and it was like
terrible.
yeah. Well, first off, I was like, "Are you pushing on his gut? What is happening?" And then I
She's
was like,
trying.
and she's trying.
Yeah.
I'm not, but at the same time, I'm like, "Are you sitting on his face?" You know?
That was a little confusing.
Yeah,
I saw
and
that one.
and then I went to the comments and I was like, someone said, "Is she sitting on his face?" And I was like,
Not the only one.
I don't want to see the replies, but I'm going to
Yeah.
click on it anyway. And the very first thing was like, well, if you got to go out.
Oh, that's just terrible. That's horrible.
I know, right?
Jeez.
It's funny how people react to very
It
traumatic and tragic events.
But
you know?
they're so desensitized.
Exactly.
Like you said, first thing in the morning,
Mhm.
open up your phone, see a bunch of people got shot.
Yeah.
Video, firsthand experience.
Death and mayhem.
Yes, of somebody dead or actively dying on Instagram.
Yeah.
You see drones smoking dudes in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right and left. And we, as a human being, we are not meant to consume every horrible event that's happening in the world.
Right.
Period. Our generation, my generation, and the previous one, I don't know even what I am, 1990 Gen Z, maybe?
You should be millennial.
Millennial? Okay.
Mhm.
So millennial, Gen Z is below us.
Yep.
Okay. So millennial and Gen Z, I think Gen Z actually, is the most depressed and lonely generation
Mhm.
that there ever has been. They're also the most connected, which
Yeah.
is crazy. So if you think about it, I am connected to millions of people by what I consume on the internet, by whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not on Twitter, not on
Oh, thank God.
any,
you're not.
no, not any of those things. But I open up my phone, I go to check to see what my buddies are doing, and all of a sudden I see some 65-year-old poor conscript in Ukraine get domed by a drone.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that sucks. Move along. Next one.
Mhm.
Oh, see another dude wrap his car around a tree.
Mhm.
Oh, that sucks. Move along. And it's just like, we can't keep
You know,
consuming this.
and that there has been people that have come out and said, well, you know, with a lot of these school shootings,
Yeah.
that people have, some politicians, and I don't think that they have everyone's best intentions in mind,
For sure.
but they are actually asking certain questions that I find relevant, and it's very difficult for a lot of people to hear what they're trying to say, but they're like, maybe we're having all these issues with school shootings because of video games, right? And they're like, oh my, there's no scientific, there's no study that's ever been done to show a link between video games and what these school shootings. And I was like, okay, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But there's a level of desensitization.
Desensitization?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. It's just, and I'm going to talk about something that I'm sure that is uncomfortable for a lot of people, but the ability for a man to perform is directly linked to their consumption of porn.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're going to sit here and say, okay, pornography is very unhealthy for a man to be able to do this over here, then why can we not make that correlation between the carnage that we see on video games? And again, hypocrite here. One of the video games I love playing right now is War Thunder.
Okay.
Right? Which is a tank or aircraft or naval simulation,
Gotcha.
right? Where you get to man. It's like Call of Duty, only with tanks.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And it's pretty realistic. It's pretty true to the source material, and you start like with early World War II tanks, like the Stuart and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even late World War I tanks, early World War II, and then the more you play, the more you build up, and the more advanced that you get, and so on and so forth. Right? Real interesting.
Okay.
To the point where if you're playing like a German tank, all of the crewmen are speaking German,
Interesting.
and all of the fire commands
Are
are
in German.
right?
That's pretty cool.
So I think that's pretty interesting. But again, it's a vehicle. I'm in a vehicle and
Right.
I'm shooting another vehicle, and there's no consequence
Human
to
factor
that.
of it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Just-
what road rage is.
Yeah, exactly.
Same exact thing.
Exactly,
Yep.
right? So, is there any studies to show that there's a correlation between violent video games and school shootings or even fights at school or anything
Right.
like that? No, there's not. And the reason there's not is because someone's probably never even done one,
Right.
right? If they have, they probably haven't been able to come to the conclusions that there is a correlation because they may not be asking the right questions,
Yeah.
right? So again, it's one of those situations where we've become so desensitized to so much that you're right. Gen Z, they're very depressed.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think about. Like, and my wife tells me all the time, she's like, you would be the world's worst motivational speaker or psychologist because I look at stuff and it's like, if I can't control it, I don't let it affect me. Like, period. Like, that's just it. I truly don't. And I tell her all the time, she's like, I'm kind of sad about this and stuff. Okay, have you just tried being happy? Like,
have you tried?
just not doing that? Like, can you control it? No. Well, then don't let it affect you. And she's like, you're horrible. Don't give me advice. But I don't know.
So, in my 40 plus decades on this earth, it has taken me, I would say probably 80% of that time, if not more, to come to that realization that no matter what is going on in my life, if it's something that I can't control, I'm not going to allow it to consume me.
Yeah, that's 100%.
I still struggle with it every single day, but at the same time, I want to say a huge thank you to George W. Bush for sending me to Iraq and Afghanistan, because without those experiences, I would have not learned how to compartmentalize my emotions.
Yeah. Yep.
And because of me being able to do that, for the most part, I would probably say a very unhealthy way to deal with death,
Yeah.
and then also I have a very healthy way to not give a shit.
Yeah. That's true though. And I mean, it's the same thing as like being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a relatively new parent of 2.5 years. And the same thing, it's like, had a shit day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, put that over here. It's time to be a dad.
Yep.
Like, kids come home, try to be as good as dad as you possibly can. And a lot of the time, and I was talking to my wife about this the other day, where it's like my head hits the pillow and I was just like, fuck, like I fucked up today. Like today was not a good parent day. Like, shouldn't have raised my voice like that. It's just a kid trying, like toddler trying to figure out life and everything else. Next day, here's what I'm going to do better. And then you do it and everything's good and that's fine. And, kids are kids and, they don't hold it against you.
Yeah.
And, like, you try to have a conversation with your 2.5-year-old. Listen, dad was tired and he's really sorry about this. And do you forgive dad? And he's like, oh, let's read Zootopia. And it's like, all right, all is forgiven. We're good now. Like, that's fine.
But it's interesting. You bring up, and this is a piece that I think is lacking, and I'm going to get to a point here. But you said, I had a crap day. I'm gonna put that over here because it's time to be a dad. How did you get to that point, right? How do you get to that point where you're like, I got to put this over here because now it's time to be a dad, right?
Yeah, and I think part of it is just giving a shit.
Yeah,
like truthfully, and it's not. I am not the world's best dad. Like, I've only been a dad for 2.5 years. I know I've already screwed up. But I'm trying to be a good dad. There's a lot of parents, a lot of people who should not have had kids. Anyone can have a kid. Not anyone can have a kid. You know what I mean? Anyone has the ability potentially to have kids unless something goes terribly wrong. Not everyone has the ability to be a parent.
Correct.
I know a couple people, a couple of my friends who have told me before, I am too selfish to be a parent. I know that. I'm probably not going to get married, probably not going to have kids. Being a parent and being a spouse are the two hardest things you will ever do.
Yeah.
Period. they're also the most selfless things you will ever do.
Yep.
And you realize that so quickly where you're like, ooh, I was pretty selfish about this. I wanted to sit for 5 minutes, wanted to do nothing and just zone out. Can't do it. But I think the way to get to that point is you have to care enough, care enough about that person, about your kid, about your wife, to say, I'm going to serve you and not myself.
Yep. The sense of responsibility is something that we have lost as a society, because of those people like you just talked about. Is I know that I'm too selfish to be a parent, because for the last couple of decades, it's the you.
Yeah.
You know,
do what you feel.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
It feels good for
Yeah.
you. It's
Your truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. Jinx.
bitch.
but it's true. Like there is one truth, and that truth is Jesus Christ. But that's very anti-Semitic. I shouldn't have said that.
No,
but it is funny because you're 100% right. Where people, even Gen Z and millennials, they're waiting to get married. Why? I want to go on this trip. I want to go party. I want to go do something else, whatever it is. They're waiting to have kids. Why are you waiting to have kids? I don't want them to ruin what I have now. And it's like, do kids screw up your plans to go vacation in Fiji? 100%. You want to take your kids with you? Be my freaking guest.
Yeah.
You're just parenting in a different location. That's all it is. You're not on vacation. But you have to realize, like, you have to kill that part of yourself that is, I want to do this. And there's going to be a time, again, in the future when my wife and I are going to be like, you know what? Let's go out to a wine bar. We're going to sit. We're going to talk by ourselves. Kids aren't going to be there. We're going to have a great time by ourselves. That's not now. And I'm okay with that. Like, that's completely fine. Yes, it's hard sometimes, but at the same time, it's like, I am cognizant of the fact that I am raising 2 boys to hopefully, and again, I'm not the best person in the world, but hopefully share some of my values, hopefully share some of my beliefs, if they're the right beliefs, and, replace me when I'm gone.
Yeah.
And hopefully they have enough respect for their wives, their kids, their sons, their daughters to raise the next good generation coming. So we'll see. Have kids. They're fun. They're also really hard.
They are, yeah. and it's I constantly worry about if I'm doing it correctly. You know, even though my son, like I said, is 26, he and I don't talk as much as I would like for us to.
Yeah.
But I was the exact same way when I was 26. I barely talked to my parents,
which
is fine. Maybe he'll come around. But we never really had that relationship anyway, I don't think. But my point is, when we do get an opportunity to talk and we start talking about some pretty serious or heavy things, some of the responses that he gives back, I'm just like, oh, that's exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
And it's like, my daughter and I will, I'll be, I have to drive to Kansas City to pick her up. And most of the time we have a 2-hour long conversation to get back to the house.
That's awesome.
Which is the best 2 hours of my life. Anytime that I pick her up or I take her to the airport, we're either talking about what's been going on since I last saw her or what's going to happen, and stuff like that. And, sometimes, we'll get into a conversation where we're talking about firearms and the things that she says. I'm just like, all right, I'm raising her right.
I'm happy.
Yeah. You know,
and that's where your spouse comes into play too.
Yeah.
Because I am so blessed to have married a very like-minded woman, where. And I am shocked, honestly, because she went to the U of M. She was in a co-ed fraternity with every single other person that is in that fraternity is the complete opposite in beliefs as her and as myself. And, her current friend group is exactly the same. I'm very outspoken on social media. And again, I've been trying not to be, just because you don't change anybody's mind. It's just kind of your own little ecosphere of bullshit. But very outspoken about like abortion and about some other different stuff. And one of her friends came up to me at a party and was just like, and she hammered, but she was just like, I am shocked that, Jess married someone who believes the things that you believe. And I was like, have you spoken to her at all? Like, do you know her? Because she is way more outspoken than I am on the stuff that you're talking about. And so, like you said, you're raising your kids, but you got to make sure your spouse is relatively the same, equally yoked. And it's interesting to see, even now, even at 2.5 years old, my son speaks full sentences. Like, the dude is just an absolute genius, which is crazy. But he's saying stuff now, and I laugh so hard. Like, the other day, he came up to us, and I had some of my guns out, and I was putting them away. And he's like, Daddy, you're going to go shoot? And I was like, no, unfortunately not. I just cleaning some stuff, whatever. You go pew pew, like you do this. And but he understands that kind of stuff, and he understands, these are Dad's toys, quote unquote. You don't touch them. Or he goes up to my wife and gives her a hug and gives her a kiss on her shoulder, like something that I would do to her. And she just sent me a video today, and he's like, Mommy, I love you. And it's like, okay, he has such a soft heart, and you got to protect that at all costs. Yep. But at the same time, you got to teach him, you got to be strong, and you got to, prepare yourself for weird stuff that's coming down, because the world's only getting weirder.
Yeah.
But yeah, parents, to be a shitty parent is very easy.
Oh yeah. 100%.
To be a good parent is extremely difficult.
I mean, we were talking about it just a little bit earlier tonight before we started recording, about, crappy parents, about people who, get into a vehicle when they're still drunk.
Yeah.
The next morning after partying the night before, they're still drunk the next morning, and then pass out while they're driving down the road.
That's crazy.
With their son in the vehicle.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that really get me pissed off very quickly, is when the most innocent of us are put into very bad situations, right?
But that's sorry, not to keep going.
No, I was just going to say, when it comes to like kids being harmed or kids being put into very bad situations because the parents are too wrapped up into their own lives, they're just neglecting the kid, or they're drug addicts, or whatever the case may be, or even the Epstein stuff. That enrages me to no point, and I just want to, like, it's what we talked about earlier, I just want to burn it all down because of it.
But how? And it kind of weird. Again, we were talking about earlier. How do you do that? Because like we were talking about the protests in Minneapolis. I have never gotten a text randomly from a random number that says, "Hey, are you mad about kids getting murdered and eaten? Oh, sure, let's protest about that." It's like everyone is so choosy about, oh, well, this is a left issue, this is a right issue. And it's like, if you think that kids getting kidnapped and raped and murdered and eaten and all this other different stuff that's in the files, again, if it's true, which I tend to believe a lot of it is, if you think that is not a bipartisan issue, or if you think that's a left issue versus a right, and I've heard people say that.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh well, it's the Clintons and stuff like that. And, it's obviously it's just Bill Clinton and his cronies. It's like you're so naive to think it's just one side. Like, truthfully. And again, we're at a point where we're too comfortable, we're too well fed, we've got heat in our homes, we've got booze to drink if we want to drink it, and we've got ice in the fridge, and it's like, I really don't want to go out and shoot a bunch of politicians.
Yeah, I know.
like that's just, it's not how it's going to work.
Well, it's funny about the protests, because we have protests that happen here, and it's just a couple of blocks
for
down.
ICE or for?
Well, it's like the whole like anti-Trump and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that kind of falls into what you're talking about here is these people will protest at the same spot almost every single day from about 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then at about 6 o'clock, they got to pack up, because it's
a
dinner.
Little cold, little dark, kind of hungry.
It's dinner time. And I didn't take that into consideration until way back at the beginning of Trump's term this time, with all of the Tesla dealership stuff going on. So I flew out to Virginia to visit my daughter, and the ex picked me up from the airport, and we're heading back to their place, and we drove by a Tesla dealership, and she's like, "Hey," my ex was like, "Hey, this is that dealership I was telling you about where all the protests are," and I was like, "Well, where's the protests? I thought you were saying that they're out here every day." And she's like, "Oh, well, it's 6:15. It's dinner time."
And I was like, a little bit.
"What?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, every day,
like clockwork.
Every day they're gone at 6:00. They got to go to dinner." And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "I'm telling you, just pay attention to that."
That's crazy.
And it's funny because she is like one of the most aloof people when it comes to that type of stuff. But she was able to pick up on it.
That.
Yeah, she was able to pick up on that. So now every time I'm seeing these people down the road protesting, with their upside down flags and everything, we drove by them about 6:15, and they're all backing up in their cars, and they're pulling out.
See, Minnesotans are way different, honestly. Like there was, and I'm gonna again butcher the numbers, thousands of people at a protest walking through downtown Minneapolis, and it was like negative 25 degrees, normal temperature.
Oh yeah,
and they are pumped, like they truly are, and they think, and because I don't think like them, truthfully, but what I'm assuming is that they are legitimately thinking that this is the line in the sand that stops the federal government. That they are the front line against a tyrannical government, and we're doing what's right, and we're in the right, and we're doing all this stuff. And it's like, to a point, I get it. I don't want the feds anywhere near anything, period. But we have to acknowledge the fact that the last 4 years we've let in hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of undocumented people that we have no idea who's in our country, and we got to fix it. But to your point, it is interesting. Okay, on a very nice day in Minneapolis, if this was in the summer, if all this stuff, Renee Good died and this other dude got shot, if this was in the summer, whole city would be on fire.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Guaranteed.
100%.
The good news is, it was literally during like a polar vortex, and it was negative 30 degrees out. So nobody really wanted to be outside. If this was in the summer, a whole different story. And my prediction, and I've talked to a few other people about this, is that this is going to continue until it gets warm. Then it's going to get worse.
Fighting season.
Then it's going to get worse. And then something's going to happen. But it's just a matter of time. And granted, Trump kind of gave up the ghost and said, we're going to pull back and do all this other different stuff. So Minnesotans look at that as like a win. They're like, oh, we beat them. Everything's good. So it goes one of two ways. Either it gets much worse when it gets warmer, or people are going to say, we won. Let's kind of chill out a little bit. And since I've been down in Arizona, I just kind of zoned out of what's happening in Minnesota. Like, I don't care. Truly don't care. And I don't know if it's algorithm saying you're getting closer to home, so here's a bunch of random stuff, because I truly haven't seen anything when I was down there. Started getting so many more upticks in protests happening today. Here's a picture of this here, and it's just so over it from a Minnesotan standpoint. It's like, can we just stay out of the news for 6 months?
And one of the questions, I don't know if you've thought of it, and I'm sure you have, because you live in it, right? But one of the things that I would ask if I lived there and were to talk to somebody and they're like, yeah, we beat them. Yeah. We won. And I'm like, oh, how's that working out for you?
That's
is your life any better now than it was 6 months ago?
They're just angry.
Are you paying less taxes?
No. And that's the thing. The funniest part is they say we're at a surplus now, 1.7 billion, something like that. We're not going to see that money come back.
Oh, yeah.
Period. The problem is, again, on top of how much we're getting taxed, like I said, they're now looking for ways to give that money to the people who don't deserve it
Mm-hmm.
in Minneapolis. And our attention spans are so short that it went from fraud, not good, let's expose it, let's get rid of it, to ICE is in trying to take away some, and again, not all of them are doing fraudulent activities. Right. ICE is trying to take away some of the people that are doing this fraud. Oh, we don't like that you're in here. We want to keep these people that are doing this fraud. Also, because your businesses have suffered, here's $1 million
Mm-hmm.
that you're probably going to do fraud with.
Exactly, right? So
like,
ridiculous.
What the heck?
And you brought up at dinner and just now that you guys had a surplus.
Yeah.
And that
$15 billion.
Yeah, money's gone.
Gone.
Right.
I think that was 2024,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2023.
We had a surplus that same year here in the state of Kansas. The state legislature said, "Hey, we want to give that money back to the people." Sent it up to our governor, who Democrat, and she vetoed it.
Really?
And then in the state of Kansas, we have the ability to reverse her veto with a supermajority in the legislature.
That's awesome.
Which, yeah, it is good. But all of a sudden, all the people who had originally voted for her all of a sudden decided, well, she vetoed it, so maybe we shouldn't. And there's some people that have, I'm connected with some of the representatives here in the state, and they said, yeah, pretty much Governor Kelly reached out to those people to flip their votes and basically said, if you ever want anything done by me, signed by me, you'll flip your vote. Otherwise, I will never.
Everything's all so corrupt. It's all business
I know, right?
dealing. I mean, you look at Ilhan Omar, or whatever her name is.
Uh-huh.
She had a negative $65,000 net worth when she came into office. She's now like $38 million.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she's got a winery apparently that's never sold any wine. And like, there's so much insider trading and so much just deals going on.
Yeah.
And it would be awesome. Like, you look at Brandon Herrera, awesome dude.
Mm-hmm.
Met him a couple times. He's super nice to talk to. He's a really good dude. Aiden knows him really well, and he's killing it. And I love, speaking of, you guys don't follow I'm Horrendous. Now it's a Violent Intern. Go follow him.
Oh, yeah.
He's awesome. But you got people like Brandon Herrera, who truly, I think he would do good stuff for Texas. Truly does. Against Tony Gonzalez, who seems to be all giant piece of shit. Mm-hmm. And you hope that you get people like that in who don't cave to the corruption and don't get sucked into all that stuff.
And that's the thing. I've talked to Brandon about that at length, and he says that I want to get in there and I want to do one term, and I want to do some good, and that's it. That's all I want to do.
Interesting.
Well, a representative is only in for 2 years.
Oh, can't get much done in 2 years.
What are you going to? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What are you going to get done in 2 years? So you're not going to be able to just stay one term,
right?
Because you're going to realize I can do so much more.
Yeah, I can't do anything in 2 years.
Exactly, and then 2 years becomes 4 years if you're lucky, and if 4 years becomes 6 years if you're lucky.
Yep. And
it just continues to roll and roll and roll, and the next thing you know, you start getting pulled into that swamp, right? And not to say that Brandon would do that, you know. You look at somebody like Thomas Massey, and it's like, I would hope that he's everything that he is portraying.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's still part of the government,
And I mean, it's like Rand Paul.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't
both
seen,
the Pauls.
Yeah, both the Pauls.
Yeah.
And, they've been pretty base for a while.
Especially if you go back, I'm old enough to remember when he ran for president.
Yeah.
And some of the things that he was fighting for back in like 1996 when he was running against Dole and Clinton.
Yep.
Some of the things that he was talking about then. He was talking about legalizing marijuana, and he was talking about legalizing more than marijuana, and people are making fun of him. It was like, you want to legalize marijuana and make everybody just freaking groovy and happy and everything. He's like, no, marijuana. He started breaking it down. He's like, it's less harmful than alcohol.
100%.
It's for the most part, not always. It can be harmful for individuals younger than 25, especially males whose frontal cortex is not fully developed. I get that aspect of it, but he started breaking all of this type of stuff down, and they had no response other than to basically make fun of him. Yeah, you know. But again, I'm old enough to remember those types of things. You know?
I mean, that's what they did. That's why marijuana was made illegal back in the 20s, 30s, whatever it was, because of hemp.
Oh yeah,
like hemp was supposed to be the next big thing, and it was huge and all this stuff. And then I'm blanking on the guy's name that owned all the printing presses, because hemp was supposed to take over paper, and
more than just paper, is supposed to take over a lot of cotton production as well.
Cotton production too. And he basically went to the government and was just like, marijuana is hemp. Hemp is marijuana. You know, it's the same thing. You got to make it illegal. It's bad. You know, that's where the reefer madness,
man. Yeah,
all that. It's crazy. It's so funny we're talking about that. I literally just listening to Joe Rogan about this. And you should. The Russell Crowe one is really good. His voice so soothing. I almost fell asleep.
I know.
Like,
I know. Well, I'm a Russell Crowe fan. I know that he's probably. I know that he's not the best person in the world, but I do like a lot of his work. You know, obviously Gladiator,
Master and Commander.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I have a profound love for the movie Gladiator because that was the very first movie I saw after completing basic training.
Oh, nice.
I'd seen a couple of movies like the last week of basic training before I completed, but the very first movie I saw immediately after graduating basic training at the theater at Fort Knox was Gladiator. And I was blown away. You know,
it's really good.
You know, so
if you listen to it, his voice, just
right, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me just talk about this for a little bit.
You're just like, all right, I'm just gonna take a little nap here for a second.
All right, well, we've gone way over than we have normally, but this has been great. It's just two dudes sipping on some whiskey and solving the world's problems.
That's
man.
What it is.
We need to make sure that we get you back before 2 years from now.
Yeah, I'd love to, man. 100%. I love doing these. These are so much fun.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get Jefe in.
Yeah, what the heck? Hopefully his kids are not puking on him.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be. You've got kids. You know how they get sick at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
You know, so
and then you're sick and life is over.
Yeah. But needless to say, thank you guys. If you've made it this far in the podcast, thank you so much for sticking around with us for this long. We do appreciate it. It's like I said, it's always great to have good people and spirited conversations. But we'll get out of here and we will catch you in the next episode. So don't forget to live, laugh, and Larp. Bye, y'all.